Hey everyone, we're on with Chris Polek today, and Chris and I usually get together this time of year to talk about some baseball. And there's been a lot of, as far as Chris is a New York Yankees fan, I'm a New York Mets fan, and we enjoy the chatter that we can create about baseball, and we're both looking forward to the baseball season, right, Chris?
Yeah, I'm excited. 1 week from today, I'll at this time I'll be at Yankee Stadium watching the game. So the Yankees are opening up against Milwaukee, so I'm excited for baseball to begin again.
Yeah, that's great. I will probably not be at the game. Just got too many things to do. But it's interesting off season, right? Where it's been the first time in a long time that I've seen the Mets pick up a few players from the Yankees.
Yeah, and you know what? We've had our fair share of players crossing over the river
Yep,
or being one time. So it is a tradition that has gone on for many years.
yep. Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden.
Hmm.
Who is it? There was somebody else, a good outfielder for the Yankees.
Oh, now now my memory's going on
He
that.
played for both the Mets and the Yankees, probably in the steroid era in the 90s.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, but there are plenty of Yankees and Mets, and I kind of think George Steinbrenner, when he was alive, he really enjoyed poaching former Met players to have them come over in pinstripes because they always kind of revived their career.
Yeah, and a few of the Yankees, a few of the Mets did very well for the Yankees for quite a few years,
Yep.
especially Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden.
Oh yeah.
So, what are you looking forward to this season? I mean, what's your prognosis for the Yankees?
Uh, well, most people who know the Yankees, we've had our fair share of injuries before the season has even gotten underway. It's almost like we've started our own hospital ward. Although the team is still good, it's obviously going to be more competitive than we imagined at the beginning of the year. Although I expect us to be able to get into the playoffs, and as you know, anything can happen in the playoffs. So I think we're still there, but these type of injuries happen. It's just like in business. You have unexpected things happen, in business and sales, and that's life. You gotta move on. The season starts on March 27th, like it or
Yep,
not.
at the curveball comes, and you got to react to it as
Yep.
business, right? Hey,
Hmm.
so, what do you think? Who's going to be your sleeper for the Yankees this year?
Well, I'm real interested to see how Will Warren takes advantage of the injury to Garrett Cole, that he's going to get a shot in the starting lineup. Uh, so he came in last year, didn't have the greatest results, but his spring training has been good. So I think he's got the right mindset this time. And sometimes you have injuries like this, somebody gets to step in, and this is where you find you've got that hidden talent on your team, and it's their chance to shine. So uh, I'm really, really interested to see what he can do
Is he
because
a homegrown Yankee, or did he come via trade? Or
uh, I think he's homegrown. He's probably about 25 years old.
oh, okay,
We've got Aaron Judge, and we also have Cody Bellinger, who's new this year.
right.
And in left field, we're going to have Jason Dominguez. So that's going to be interesting seeing a full season out of him. He's a young guy in his early 20s. So it'll be interesting to see, a full season out of him. So yeah, we have some older players, but there's always a lot of youth. We got a lot of youth on our team.
Did they retain the guy from the White Sox last year?
Mm.
I think he played third base. He came over.
Oh, no, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't have him. They've still got, young guy. They've got Oswaldo Cabrera at third base, and
Right,
we've got Anthony Volpe,
right,
who's our young shortstop, who's from New Jersey originally,
Right.
And then we've got Jazz Chisholm over at second base, who is, also in his early 20s.
That
So
was it. That was the
we've got
guy.
a
I
young
thought
group
he
of
came
people
over.
on.
He didn't come over from the White Sox.
He came over from the Marlins.
The Marlins got it.
So
Yep.
maybe that's where you had it
That's where I
confused.
had it
Was
confused.
playing third base.
Well, you're gonna have a pretty speedy defense, it seems, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that there'll be plenty of excitement. So what are your prospects for the Mets?
Well, Juan Soto should protect Alonso,
Yep. Well,
right?
we know how he performed when he played for us last year. So he's an impact player. So you know
Yep,
you're going to get a boost in your lineup.
yep. Something that really didn't work out well for the Mets for because there was no protection for Alonso. So hopefully
Hmm.
that's going to be a big change.
Hmm.
Um, I Vientos, the kid from last year, hit all those home runs down the stretch.
Hmm.
Um, I hope that's not the freshman. What do they usually said? There's a freshman jinx or something. When you get into your second year, it may not be as good as that
The
first year.
sophomore curse.
Yes. So I'm just hoping he can be the same player he was last year. Um, Pretty excited about our starting pitcher that we got from the Yankees.
Hmm. That's going to be interesting to see Clay Holmes go from the bullpen to a starting pitcher role.
Right. And overall I think the biggest question I have with the Mets is their starting pitching.
Hmm.
I think they'll hit. I think they'll really hit well because they've got a bunch of good young players and a bunch of hitters. I don't know about the starting pitching
Yeah.
if it's going to be able to hold up.
I'm not too familiar with the Mets bullpen depth,
Right.
but how do they rank in the on the National League?
I don't know. I didn't look it up, but I can look it up pretty quickly probably.
Yeah, because I think it's interesting with somebody like Clay Holmes, who was a reliever, and now they're moving him to a pitcher role. But these days you don't see a lot of starting pitchers go past the fifth inning.
Correct. Yep.
So only a few of the top stars you see going deep into the game. So the bullpen's so important of carrying the team through the entire game.
Yeah, I was just looking at I'll pop over to ESPN. Sometimes I forget about the other guys, Kodai, and Sean Manaea. And then third is Frankie Montas. I'm not familiar with him. And then they've got Clay Holmes as number four, but he's going to be the starter. So they might have moved him up from the last time ESPN did this. And they've got Tyler Miguel, who's been in and out, up and down the last 3 years. Pretty
Mhm.
big right-hander, strong kid. Um, just wasn't consistent enough. But one guy I don't see on here is Peterson. I don't know if you remember Peterson from last year, the lefty.
Mhm.
Um, I don't see him on here. Wonder if he's just in relief or something like that. Right-handed pitchers, Stanek, Garrett, Budo, Nunez, Diaz. I don't see his name as all. I wonder what happened. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. Well, the bullpen gets their fair share of work more these days than we used to see as pitchers growing up.
Yep. By the time they get to that fifth inning, they're already looking to make some changes. So
Yeah,
what they that's right. I think you said the Yankees and Mets start both on the same day, right?
they do. I think the Mets are on the road and the Yankees are at home. So fortunately, I checked the weather report. It's supposed to be, it's not going to be warm, but it's going to be sunny. So that will help.
Sunny and
We don't
50.
have to worry about it snowing or anything.
Well, that's good. We had that a few years ago. It's interesting to me how, these pitchers can come from Arizona. and they can come from Florida, and they've been practicing and working out in that warm weather, and all of a sudden they got to come up to Chicago, Boston, New York, Philly. I know when my son was a pitcher all the way through college and played 1 year of independent baseball.
Hmm.
And the thing that always got him was the pitching in the cold. Always
Oh
hurt
yeah.
his elbow. He was always saying, elbow hurts or muscle twinge or something to that effect.
That's what I'm always afraid of because these the players aren't at their 100% when the season starts. They're still shaking off a little bit of rust, and it's so easy to get injured in the early part of the season, especially in the cold weather. I'm a firm believer that the northern teams that they should all be starting the season either in the south or in a dome stadium
Yep, you got that
for
right.
those
Yep,
for those first couple of weeks until things get a little bit warmer. So then once you hit late April to May, it's consistently getting a little more warmer.
yeah, you could probably reduce the amount of injuries quite a bit if the MLB just switched to that type of schedule. There's enough warm weather cities out there.
Yeah, it's pretty much that they have plenty of injuries going on already. I mean, look how many, of course, in our area, we know all the injuries we have between the Mets and the Yankees. They've
Right.
been more headline, but a lot of these injuries are happening all over. It's not just isolated to our teams.
Yeah. And with the National League and American League, those schedules really don't, where the National League just would play National League teams and AL would play AL, and then they'd have their series a couple times. It seems lately in the last couple of years, they've really mixed those schedules up. So there's no certain time when an NL team is going to play an AL team or an AL team is going to play an NL team. So that should bode better for just going to those warm weather cities during the early part of the season.
Yes, with that balanced schedule they have, they can get a lot more creative to do something like that. So I think after all of these injuries and everything, I'm surprised that the baseball owners and players uh, haven't lobbied for that. I mean,
Right.
the players are still getting paid when they're injured, but let's face it, no player wants to get injured. It could be some of them could be career ending for them.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Or you go out with a Tommy John and basically you're done for a year or even up to 18 months, you could be done.
Hmm.
So what's your prognosis for the Yankees? How many wins?
Well, I I don't think it's going to be a lot because our division's still pretty competitive. We have teams in here, so I think something like 92 wins could actually win our division.
Well, okay. I'm
Because
thinking,
I think between the Red Sox and the Orioles, I could see it bunched up very close in
yeah,
the in the
and
low
the
90s with three teams fighting pretty close to get that division title.
National League East is just like that with Philly and Atlanta
Yeah,
and the Mets. I'm thinking 88 to 90. I
yeah.
mean, that's what I'm hoping for the Mets.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I
well,
think the days of being able, it's so competitive. I don't even think anybody had 100 wins last time. I think it's been a while since somebody hit the 100 win mark
right.
and
So
really ran away with it.
I'm going to move off a little bit here. Did you hear about the sale of the Celtics today?
Yes, I did. I was just checking CNBC and just to see what was happening in the business headline world, and that was the headline that hit right there. It said, I believe it was $6.1 billion that
Right,
they were
right.
for a
For the
new record.
Celtics, right? Now
Yeah,
they're a storied franchise, just like the Yankees and the Dodgers. I can only imagine what one of those franchises would go for if the Celtics got $6.1 billion.
yeah, and I think the Washington Commanders were just a little slightly under that when
Really?
they were sold just 2 years ago. I think it was close to that 6 billion mark, or maybe just under it. It was pretty close, but that was probably the most recent sale of a big team. So, I mean, it just goes to show you how much the value of these teams are skyrocketing.
Yeah, yeah. Guess there's still a lot of money out there. So
Hmm.
as long as there's a lot of money, sports, these
I
sports,
guess that's why the ticket prices keep going up every year.
right? Now we were talking before, we talked earlier about you asked me the last time I had been to Citi Field,
Hmm.
and I've only been to Citi Field once. And living in Jersey, where I live in Monmouth County, it just takes too long to get there and too long to get home.
Yeah, it is long, but I think you're going to have to make a few more trips there because I've actually been there more times than you then, Art.
You have?
Yes.
Well, I'm
I
a
don't
good
think I've
TV
been there. I don't
watcher.
think I've been there 10 times, but pretty close.
Right, right. So the owner wants to put up a casino, from what I understand.
Hmm.
And I think putting up that casino hotel, if he gets the approvals, that would make me want to go, because then I could do an overnight, right? I could maybe do 2 nights, and then I could plan my travel back to Jersey at some time when it's not that crowded to get through that New York City mess.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely diversifying your business to attract more fans there.
Right, right. So what else, anything else going on with the Yankees? It's
I think that's about it. They're getting ready to make their way up north next week.
Who are they playing?
They're wrapping up They're opening up against the Milwaukee Brewers,
American League, National League.
American League, National League, Interleague to start off the season.
Yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, here I am, a Met fan. I don't even know who they're playing.
I think they're opening against uh, Miami, Miami Marlins or Florida Marlins.
What do you think of the Marlins? Are they ever going to get any better? Or
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that's a team that's interested in interested in, at least doesn't seem that way.
isn't Derek Jeter still one of the owners, or did
No, I
he
think
get out?
he got out of there a couple of years ago. I think that was part of the reason they didn't seem that serious about building a winning team.
Right. It says here the Mets are for Thursday night, Port Lucie, essentially opening day lineup. What is spring season? Spring season is eight. It's not. Is it 8 full weeks? It starts when the second week of February usually.
Oh, spring training?
Yeah, spring
Yeah,
training.
it's usually that second week of February. So it's it's probably maybe like 6 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
6 weeks to get ready.
Yeah.
Who played in Japan 2 days ago? The
Cubs and the Dodgers.
Cubs and the Dodgers.
The Dodgers won both games. So
Right. So all they played was 2 games, and they opened up the season a week early.
yeah, yeah. Then they came back and they'll probably start, yeah, a week from today, like everybody else.
Interesting. What do you think of the Dodgers?
Oh, they're a tough team. I mean, I saw them in the World Series last year. They're the current world champions and the team to beat. They're the team with the target on their back, and they
And
got a
they
lot of superstars on that team.
and they pretty much manhandled everybody. Well, the team that didn't manhandle that much that well was San Diego, right? San Diego gave them
Yeah, they played
problems.
them tough. They had that was their toughest opponent in getting through the playoffs last year.
Right. The Mets, they pretty much rolled through the Mets, and then they rolled through the championship.
Yep.
What do you think about that whole spring training, getting ready, um, something new, something different, um, and move that into sales?
Well, I think the main thing I always look at spring training is getting back to the basics. It's 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 always the thing that it's not always the most exciting thing because everybody thinks, well, I already know all those things about the basics. Although it's really a matter of not what you know about the basics, it's how well you do them.
Right.
They should come natural. They need to be done. Those are the types of things that you need to do before you can get on to something more advanced. And yeah, it takes a little bit of time to warm up. I mean, if most most people that are casual baseball fans, they're probably really not watching a lot of baseball earlier in the season. But
Right.
one thing I noticed when you go to a lot of games in April when the season first starts, these players aren't at the top of their game yet. You'll see a
Especially the
lot more.
hitters.
You're going to see a lot more mistakes. You're going to see people, still having a lot of rust on them that they're shaking off.
Right.
Uh, so they have to, they have to get in the groove a little bit, and it takes a little time, but then they get up to it.
Right.
Yeah.
PFPs, running,
Hmm.
conditioning.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the new things that if you did watch spring training that you've seen is that they're excuse me, experimenting with the replay of balls and strikes and how they
Okay.
do that. I don't think that's going to be implemented for this year, if I'm correct, but they were playing around with this, but it's something that they're considering for next year. And have you been able to see any of the examples of that in spring training of how
I,
that works? They had
if
it
I was,
last year too in spring training when I went to a game and I got to see it in action.
I don't believe I saw it, but what I thought I read this year that they were gonna also toy around with in spring training was automated umpire calls. Did I get
Yeah,
that
that was
wrong?
it. That's what I'm talking. Well,
Oh,
it's not.
okay.
It wasn't so much automated umpire calls. It was more that they could do a replay if it was the either the batter or the pitcher, and you can do it two times in a game, kind of like they have the replay rule now.
Right.
And with the batter, if the umpire called a strike, for instance, and they didn't think it was a strike, the batter just has to tap the top of his helmet and they'll do the replay. So it happens pretty fast. And the same thing with the pitcher. If the umpire calls a ball and he thought it was a strike, the pitcher can request the replay.
Right.
And
It's not going to be unlimited, is it?
no, no, you get
Oh,
two
you too.
opportunities in a game. So you can't do this at
So
every at bat. But I think it was actually in one of the Yankee spring trainings that they did this a week ago, where it was the final out. They they uh, they challenged the call, so it ended up being a ball. Batter got to go on to first base. And instead of ending the inning with 0 runs, the Yankees ended up scoring 4 runs
oh
after that.
wow. Wow. So per team you only get two
Per
chances
team. Yeah.
per team.
Yeah.
Per team, two teams. Do you think that may you said it happens pretty quick, so that's probably not
Yeah.
gonna hurt the
I don't
speed of
think
the
it won't
game.
slow down the game. And I think that I saw another one where I guess it's, the umpires have a tough job doing these, especially at the high speed pitches that they are. And I think they did have one challenge where, a batter uh, a batter requested the replay, and I guess they looked at the replay, and the umpire announced to the field that it's like, as you can see, the call was correct.
Right. Interesting.
So it can be a little bit of a savior for the umpires too. If they get challenged and their call was right, then the umpire gets some points for themselves too, I guess.
Any other new rules in for this year?
That's all I know about it. I mean, they've had some of the other ones that have been in effect for a while, the pitch clock and the
The shift?
and with the ghost runner on second and extra innings, and only two throws over to first base.
Right.
I think those have helped speed up the game a lot. Um, I'm not sure what your opinions are. I thought the pitch clock was a good idea. Uh, I'm not so sure about the two throws over to first base as much, but I could see where that got a little ridiculous when you'd have 8 or 10 throws in an at bat. That was a little crazy. Um, and I never really liked the ghost runner rule when that first came out, although it kind of grew on me. I kind of like it now. There is a strategy behind it.
Right.
Regular season games, they don't do that in the postseason games and extra innings, but if the whole goal is for them to speed up the games and make them more faster during the regular season, yeah, I think those have helped. I don't, what's your take on it?
I, if I remember back to a lot of tournament games that my son used to play in, they would have different tournaments would have different rules where you
Hmm.
could have that ghost runner. And so that way, you wouldn't get 13, 15, 16, 20
Hmm.
innings. And I guess that's overall, that's probably better to for the game anyway, because I mean, who wants to sit through a 20 inning game or an 18 inning game? I
Yeah,
don't think it helps. It may help the hitters. I don't think it helps the pitchers
yeah.
at all.
Hmm.
Um, uh,
I think for the post, I agree with you on that. I think for the postseason, it's different that they throw that rule away, that they play. But that's, of course, that's just a shortened series, so it's going to end when you're playing over 162 games. Uh, yeah, I see the benefits of it and not wearing your team down over those 6 months.
Yeah, and then as you know, and once the team goes through a game like that where they got 13 innings or 14 innings, they got to call up some pitchers the next day, and then they have the never-ending yo-yo of players going up and down.
Yeah. Well, they kind of got rid of the 40-man roster. They only have it up to, I think it's 27 now.
Well, that's how far
Uh,
behind I am.
yeah, yeah, no, they do that so that they have to rotate one. And sometimes when they have a double header or something like that, they'll let them carry one extra player, but they got rid of that expanded 40-man roster in September because they felt it gave an advantage of too many teams of being able to rest all their people if they had a big lead. They wanted it to be more competitive all the way to the end of the season that players had to play.
Right. Well, I think with the expanded playoffs, I would have to say that last year was pretty exciting for a lot of teams that were still playing competitive and baseball all the way, until the last week of September. There was
Yeah,
still spots open to go to the tournament.
yeah, I thought so too. I agree.
Did the Yankees, were they were in earlier, weren't they? They had to shoe in early. Did they
Yes,
win their
yeah,
division last year?
they won the division, so
Right.
they were able to sit out the first round.
Got it. Got it.
So they got a little bit of rest for a few days.
Right. Now, as we know about the Mets, it was like every game for 5 days hinged on winning and losing to move forward.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun though when you get to that time of the year that you keep playing and you maybe get one night off and then you're playing all the other nights. So it's yeah, it's exciting. It's always something to look forward to.
Yeah, it really is exciting that time of year. Yeah.
Hmm.
So Yankees open on what day?
Thursday, March 27.
And you'll be there.
I'll be there. Yeah, it's a 3 o'clock game. So
And what's the temperature look like?
I think they said it's going to be just about 60.
Oh, that's not bad, right?
Yeah, so that's for March, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, the sun's still going to be out because we're an hour later. So
Yep, the sun will be out. It'll get a little cooler, so you probably have to throw the sweatshirt on for the second half of the game, but you'll be good.
when you're at Yankee Stadium, where's your seats?
Uh, just over third base.
So do you get full sun for the entire game there?
Um, only for the first couple of innings.
Okay,
By 3 o'clock, I'm going to be in the shade.
got it.
So usually when it starts at 1 o'clock, by the third inning, you're in the shade.
Got it.
So,
So
So
You're
you'd like it to be a little bit warmer in April, but when it's when it's June and July, you're thankful you're in the shade.
absolutely, I agree. I agree. April baseball, March baseball.
Yeah.
My son's, I remember high school and his college games all started, and they go down to maybe Florida for a few days, but they'd come back here, and I can remember they played. Where did they play? They played in Virginia, like February 27th.
Gosh.
Oh, but that was one of the worst games I've
Yeah.
and my son had to pitch, and I was like,
That's still
oh,
cold in
come
Virginia.
on. It's 37 degrees,
Yeah.
35 degrees. The sun's not out. It's cloudy. And just some of that horrible weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so what's besides baseball, you're going to, I believe you said you're going to Albuquerque?
Oh, yeah, well, I'll be there for the IBPI BTA event in Albuquerque. So that's in around mid-June, I think. So that will actually not be too far away. I mean, we're practically in April, so mid-June will come up pretty fast.
Yeah, probably what, just about 6 weeks away.
Two and a half months. So, but it'll go by quickly.
Right, right. Anything else? Anything else new, different?
Uh, no, I think that's it. I mean, we're waiting for our favorite season to begin.
Yes. How's the
It'll
toner
be here
business?
soon.
Good.
Yeah, toner business, there's never a dull moment in the toner business. There's always something going on.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. All right. I really appreciate the time. I really appreciate talking baseball. Um, Hopefully I can get out to Citi Field this year and be a real fan instead of a TV
I
fan.
think you got to put that on the list. Yeah. Find one game.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Find out one game and find somebody to give me a ride, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Take a day off during the summer, go for, take a vacation day and do a midweek afternoon game.
That's not a
That
bad
might be
idea.
that might be easier to uh to do instead of fighting the rush hour traffic for an evening game.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea at all. Matter of fact, I had to drive out to I didn't drive, but I was out in Melville, Long Island, last week.
Oh, okay.
Oh, not
It's
last week,
the same
yesterday.
route you got to take to get to City Field, pretty much.
Well, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, the Southern Belt and go right past
You
you go
probably
right past
passed it.
Queens. Yeah. So actually the ride through over the Verrazano and the Southern Belt actually wasn't that bad. It was
Yeah.
the coming back was horrendous.
Hmm.
Took 2.5 hours just to get back to Edison
Yeah.
from Melville. So
It's a
it
good thing you don't
happens.
have to do that every day.
Thank goodness, right?
Yes.
All right. So everybody, I'm on with Chris Pollock. Chris Pollock is with Polek and Polek. And Chris, why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about your services and what's new and different?
Sure. Well, we've been serving the dealer community for over 50 years as a wholesale supplier of parts and supplies for copiers and printers. So we service that dealer community that sells and services printers and copiers. And dealers turn to us when they're looking to help lower their costs on their supplies so they can make more profit or be more competitive to win deals as opposed to walking away from them. And we we have many options with all the different major brands out there. So it's always good to keep in touch with us. We have new things coming out for all different brands. So we may have something that could be a game changer for you and helping you win more business in 2025. So we should talk and we can tell you more about how we can help your particular dealership for what you do.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on the show today, Chris. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And I'm
Great
sure
talking
we'll catch
baseball
up
with you.
somewhere soon, right?
Yep. Exactly.
All right.